Hey guys, today I'm going to film some plant chores. I've got a few little jobs here and there that I thought it would be fun to film while I get them done. This will either just be things I get done today or possibly over the next few days. I've got some things coming up that I know won't be happening today, but we'll see how far we get. If you've watched any of my previous videos, hi, welcome back. And if you're new, my name is Amy and this little lump right here is Piper. And my main focus with houseplants is pet-friendly plants. But yeah, let's get started. The first thing I want to have a look at, I bought this beautiful variegated African violet the other day. I had some gift cards given to me for my birthday and I still had some money left on them. So we popped into my local Knot Cuts and picked up this beautiful plant, reduced from $20.99 down to £5. And I want to get it out of its pot and have a look, because since bringing it home, oh, there's one here, the stems have been rotting and leaves have just been sort of falling out, and the pot still feels quite heavy, so I think it's retaining too much water. I imagine this pot is probably a bit too big for the root system, and I wouldn't be surprised if there's a mesh plug in here. So I'm gonna take it out of its pot and see what we're working with, probably downsize and give it some better draining soil, some more more of an aerated soil mixture. So that, yeah, let's get started there. So hopefully you'll be able to see what I'm doing. I'm using a gooseneck phone tripod and it's blocking the screen, so I can't fully see it, but I've just taken it out of the soil and it is quite wet, but we've got some roots that look okay. Hopefully there isn't one of those mesh plugs, but I definitely think I'm going to be downsizing the pot. This is such a pretty plant. I saw it when they were marked full price and really liked them, but wasn't really wanting to spend £21. So it was a kind of no question when they were reduced that much. There we go. There's the plug. It's not a mesh plug, but it's, what is that? Just pure peat or coir? Oh, there's another leaf that's rotted away there. I will chop the rotted bit off and try and propagate them, but the other leaves that have fallen off have just continued to rot. So I don't know, but I definitely want to get this off. That bit there does not look great. I don't know how well it's going to show up on camera, but there's quite a lot of, oh, yeah. This is my first time filming a bit more of a less structured video, so I'll try and stay on track. And yeah, annoyingly, I can't see the whole of my phone screen to make sure that everything's in focus or in frame. But yeah, see, although some of the roots have broken off, not tons. That didn't need to be in a pot quite that big. So this is definitely worth doing. Hopefully the plant doesn't react too badly. Oh, that one wasn't rotted, but I've snapped it. I was trying to get that bit there. These are quite similar to peperomia in that they're so brittle. It's really easy to snap the stems. It's this bit right here that I just want to break up a little bit because it's so compacted. And if I put this now into a much more well-draining soil mix, the rest of the plant would dry out, but this bit right near the base would stay really wet and lead to more rotting. Here looks good. I'm not too worried about this part of the plant, but it's this little section here that is starting to look like it's in the early stages of rotting. I think this might be as good as we're going to get it. There's a lot less of this dense soil right around the base, and all these roots here look fine. Now I've got my shears here. I'm just gonna chop the rotted ends of those off and pop them into water. There we go. I've got 3 more leaves that we'll try. I have propagated African violet before. I used to have a little one that I gave to my friend probably a couple of years ago now when she got kittens and was looking to expand her pet-friendly plant collection. And I did miss having them, so I love that I've now got another one. But yeah, the cuttings I've taken from this plant so far have just continued to rot. And I don't know if that's because it's already had a few rot issues with the soil it's been in, or if it's because it's a variegated plant and it's just a little bit more temperamental. Right, yeah, I'll go find a little pot. Right, I've got a little tub to mix up some new soil, my trusty planting spoon, and a new much smaller pot if you compare the two. So I think this plant will be much happier in a bit more of a snug pot. I'm going to reuse the soil from the plant because I don't think there's anything wrong with it, and I am on very, very limited limited plant soil at the moment. I do need to buy some more. I got my spoon, I'm using my hands anyway. I'm going to add quite a lot of orchid bark. I do prefer to get all of my soil mixtures from Soil Ninja, but if I've run out of something like orchid bark or perlite and I still have plenty of soil, I will get them elsewhere. But soil and worm castings I won't get it from anywhere but Soil Ninja. I trust their products. Wow, I have almost no perlite left. Okay, that is fine, we will order some more. So I'm gonna throw in a little bit more orchid bark just because I would usually have a bit more perlite than that. Just have a really chunky, airy mixture. I might have to make up some more, I don't know if that's gonna quite be enough. But put about an inch or so at the bottom. And now we'll pot it up. There we go. Yeah, that's still plenty of room. That is absolutely fine. There we go, that is all potted up. It's a little bit wobbly at the moment because it's quite top heavy, but that should, fingers crossed, if it doesn't react too badly to the repot, be much happier in a more snug plant pot. So I'm gonna clean up all this mess and move on to the next job. I now know I definitely need to come up with a better place to film repots than my coffee table. This isn't quite enough room. Right, next up, I've got all of these little tiny plant cuttings I took a long time ago, and they've rooted. I've taken them out of the perlite prop box and potted them up into smaller pots to just get their roots more established before potting them back in with the mother plant. But if you watched my last video, I said at the end that I wanted to put a few little plants together for one of Chloe's friends' birthdays. She loves plants as well, but she doesn't order them online as far as I know, so I thought I could pick from some of the ones here to gift to her that she wouldn't come across in a garden centre, so she definitely won't have them. So I have a rough idea. I think I know what I'd like to give her. I've got a couple of Hoya Polynura cuttings in here. These are 2 top cuts. We've got a 2-leaf one in the front and a 6-leaf one in the back that I think is going to be a really nice starter plant. And once these sort of get acclimated, settle into your home, they are really fast growers, so definitely that one. Another one I think would be cute. I did manage to get some of my Hoya Australis Lisa cuttings rooted from my birthday plant haul, so I've got 2 in here, 2 little 2-leaf cuttings. I'm just holding them in with a hairpin to stop them popping out. But although you can find these in garden centres, they don't pop up in the ones really local to us very often, and if I have seen them, they're usually in quite big expensive pots. So that is another one that I think would be quite a nice little starter plant to have. And if these grow as fast as the plain green Australis, then again this will be a really rewarding grower for her. Another one, these are mostly Hoya that I'm thinking of. This is a couple of little Hoya Matilde cuttings. There's 2 2-leaf cuttings again in this one, and this is definitely one that she won't have. They don't come to the garden centres near us. I don't know if they really pop up in the UK at all. They might do elsewhere, but I've only ever seen them online. So I thought that was a cute one. This is one of my favourite plants, as is the Hoya polyneura. I've got a little piece of, what is this? Aescunanthus. It's either marmoratus or longicalis, the black pagoda lipstick plant, and it's got really beautiful fronts and backs to the leaves. And this is a little piece that just popped out of my mother plant, and I decided to pot it up in a separate small pot, and it's got a little bit of new growth coming in just there. That again, I do see these somewhat frequently, but again, only in quite big hanging baskets that are usually about 25 to 30 pounds. This one, I have possibly given her a piece of this already. This is a jewel orchid, a Ludicea discolor. I'm not sure that I have. I can't remember, but if I have, she can pot them together or have two separate ones. I'm someone, I don't like to have duplicates around. If I've got two of the same plant, I'll pot them together. What do you guys do? Do you like having duplicates, or do you, same as me, pot them all together and just make a bigger plant? But I've got a couple of little cuttings, a little one there and a teeny one there, and then this lovely big one that I think is a sweet little pot. So what's that? That's 5 plants. I think one more. I was gonna pot this back in with my mother plant, but I think this is a fairly fast growing Hoya from what I've experienced with my one. This is Hoya Crimson Queen, just a little 2-leaf cutting. So although I'd rather give her a more established plant, I think this will start growing pretty quickly. And these have only just started popping up in our local garden centres, so I can't imagine she's got one. Yeah, I think that's a nice set. The other ones I've got here, I've got a very raggedy lipstick plant. What is this? I can't remember what this is now. I had a bigger basket that I sold because the curtain pole it lived on fell down, and I just didn't have anywhere to put it in the meantime, and I knew the curtain pole wouldn't be going back up for a while, so I took some cuttings before I sold it, but none of them are doing particularly well. And then I've got a little variegated goldfish plant that I'm just waiting for it to get a bigger root system before I pot it back in with the main plant. I've got a little pot of string of spades that I think I'm going to chop up in this video and propagate to have a lovely full pot, because it's so cute. I mean, look at those leaves there. And then I've got a little Peperomia greyhound, I think. I don't think it's the Barbella. They look quite similar, but I bought this maybe a year ago, and it had really bad thrips I didn't spot in the garden centre until I got it in the car, and then suddenly saw loads of them, and all of the adult leaves died off. But this is all new growth. If you can hear my stomach rumbling, I'm really sorry. I'm gonna have some lunch in a second. It has been putting out some teeny tiny new growth sort of in there, and hopefully it'll start to size up soon, because it's a really cute Peperomia. And the last one I've got in there is just some Peperomia Scandens, the green one, that are just in here, and I'm going to pop them in with my mother plant when they've got better root system. Very cute, one of my favourite plants. But yeah, the other 6 I will find a nice little box for and get them all presented nicely. There we go, that's all of them. I think that's a pretty cute little set, and hopefully all of these will be fairly rewarding plants and give us some new growth soon. So I've just had my lunch, and the next thing I wanted to do today was take some cuttings of some plants. I've got a little bit more space in my prop box now, and I'll also take some water propagation. So I've got some jars here, I've got my shears and rubbing alcohol. That's what I use to sanitize them. And the plants I want to take some cuttings from today, I've got 2 goldfish plants. I've got the plain green one, which is one of my favourite plants. It is so pretty, and it's starting to get really long, so I can take some more cuttings, make it a really nice full plant. And then this variegated goldfish plant that I've taken cuttings from before, but it's starting to get quite long, so I think I can take a few more. I've then got this little tiny pot of string of spades that I think you saw a couple of minutes ago, that I just want to unravel and chop into several sections to make a more full little plant, hopefully promote some new growth. And then the last one I want to do today is my Peperomia argyria, watermelon peperomia. It's got quite a few of these battered leaves that I think I'm just going to chop off, try and propagate, and then hopefully it'll give some more room in the plant overall. So we'll get started with the, I think we'll start maybe with the little string of spades. This one, I'm definitely going to put the cuttings in my prop box. So I'll just sanitize my shears. I just use a tea towel, get a bit on, and then clean the blades. I'm going to put the lid back on because I'm the kind of person that will send this flying and knocking into it by accident. I'm just using some gardening wire. It's one long strand that I've wrapped around and round, and I've pinned it down with little pieces of gardening wire. And some of them do, oh yeah, they're starting to root just a tiny bit. I don't think I'm going to be able to show you just yet, but I'm going to cut them into little 2-leaf sections and yeah, pop them in my perlite. I've done this before with a Silver Glory, where you chop just above and below the leaves and pop that in some perlite, and they will root and start a new growth point. So you want something that looks like that, just there. You don't want too much excess stem left either side of the leaf. That piece there, actually you can see all the soil hanging off of it, has already rooted, so I might be able to just pop this straight back into the soil and not have to continue to root that. Just make a little hole to pop that in. And that should hopefully just continue to grow. This one has the very early stages of a root. Hopefully you can see it just there. So that's what we're left with in the pot. Not too much, but hopefully within time, when all of these little babies root, we'll have some more. I'm just going to use another one of those wires to pin down the rooted piece that we're leaving in, to stop it going anywhere. And hairpins work great for this as well. I'm using these just because this is quite a shallow pot, but I do also use little hairpins. So annoyingly, I started taking a bunch of goldfish plant cuttings thinking I was recording, but I wasn't. So I just chopped up all of my variegated goldfish plant, and I've got these cuttings. So all I did was chop them and then remove 1 or 2 of the lowest set of leaves, and I will be just leaving these in water to root. I've had success in water and perlite with rooting these plants. But yeah, I'm very sorry that you didn't see that. I thought I hit record, but I didn't. And I've taken a few of my all green one as well. So I'm going to carry on with that. Just a few more, I think. So I've snipped just like that, and then you just want to chop those lower leaves. I'm just going to do 1 set on this one, and I think I'll chop again here. I don't want to take too much off, but nice to have some. And I don't know if you're going to be able to see, I think you will. Use my shirt. That little white or cream bit here sticking up, that's a little aerial root, and I think that usually speeds up the rooting process if they've already got some aerial roots going. No, I'm going to take a couple more. I'd love to know if you guys are propagating anything at the moment, or are you sort of letting your plants grow wild? Do you get the itch to suddenly go around and chop a bunch of plants, see what you can do with them, or do you like to leave them be and just see what they do on their own? I go through phases where I like to leave plants alone, and when I suddenly decide I want to take loads of cuttings. But I'm definitely in the chopping up my plants phase at the moment. There we go. Still looking like a lovely big full plant, but we should have lots of new ones to pot in fairly soon. And the last plant I wanted to take some cuttings from is my watermelon peperomia. So it's important to sanitize your shears between every new plant, because you don't want to pass any issues one plant might have onto another one. So I'm going to start with this leaf. I had a watermelon peperomia several years ago when I first got back into plants. I've been collecting plants for about 10 years, but I started off as just being a sort of cacti and succulent collector. There we go, there's one. And with peperomia, I find the longer you leave the stem, the longer they take to root. So I'm going to just take a little bit off there. And if you want to propagate in something like perlite, you can cut really close to the base, but I'm just going to put these in water. I had a watermelon peperomia years and years ago, and I loved it. It was so cool, but it got thrips, and this was sort of it wasn't early in my plant journey in the sense that I had been looking after plants for years, all of my cacti and succulents I used to have, but it was very early into my sort of more tropical houseplanty plants journey, and I had no idea what thrips were, and they ran absolutely rampant in my collection. There we go, it's a very battered leaf, so I'm quite happy to remove that. It was before I knew anything about pest prevention, tackling pests, and if you can see these style of peperomia, they're so densely packed that I'd be cleaning the pests off the leaves as much as I could, but they would be so deep in here, there was no way of reaching them without chopping the whole plant. And I did try and take some cuttings, but thrips lay their eggs inside the leaf tissue, so you can wipe off everything visible, think there's nothing left, and a few days later you get another round of them. So I did end up losing all of those cuttings, sadly, but I'm very happy to have one again and really keen to see how I get on with it. There we go. There's another one. Take a little bit off the end there. I don't want to go too crazy, but I think I might take this leaf off here. It's quite stuck in the middle, and I would be quite... This peperomia is blooming. There we go. I didn't know that before. They were all hidden. Oh, there we go. Last one. So although this is going to look a bit bare now, I think it's just going to give all of these lovely new leaves that are coming through just more room to spread out. And yeah, now we can see it's blooming. I don't know if you can see, there we go, that tiny little rat tail bloom in there. Really, really cool. Very excited to see it's got 3 blooms in there, 4. Sweet. Oh, and a slightly sad leaf. I don't know. I think that had obviously popped off a while ago. It's very floppy, but we'll pop it in water and see if it bounces back. I think that's all I want to do for it for now. I have taken, what is that, 4? 5 pretty hefty cuttings, pretty big leaves off that plant, and hopefully my other leaves that I've been propagating from this plant rooted in about 2 weeks, so, or you know, have only just started to show roots about 2 weeks later, so we'll know if these guys are successes pretty soon. And then just this little sad leaf that I'm not super convinced will recover, but you never know. Peperomia are so easy to propagate that even if you have a really bad leaf, I think it's worth giving it a go, because you just don't know. There we go. That is, I reckon, all of the cuttings I wanted to take today. I'm gonna get them set up in their jars and prop boxes, and I will be back. Here are all those cuttings popped into water. I love this one. I think this is a maple syrup bottle. I do need to clean it because it's got quite a lot of algae, but there we go. These spice jars work really well too. And I will keep you updated on all of the cuttings we've taken today. The rest of them I'm going to put in my perlite prop box now. So here is my prop box at the moment. Not as much space as I thought there was, but I'm just dipping my cuttings into some rooting hormone, and I'm gonna pot them up. I'm just gonna find little spaces for them, I think, and just dot them around. So there's the first one, and this is the one I use. I don't think it's entirely necessary, but I like to think it hopefully does something. Good morning, it is the next day. I've got an African violet update to show you. It's gone very, very wilty. These lower leaves have really flopped down. I'm pretty sure it didn't look like this yesterday, but fingers crossed, we'll see if it perks back up over the next few days. But so far, everything in the middle seems okay. Yeah, maybe repotting it was a mistake, but then so many of the leaves were rotting off, so I don't know. Fingers crossed, we'll see what happens there. The last thing I'm going to be doing in this video, I've got these 2 pots of curly lipstick plants. I used to have a massive one, it was absolutely gorgeous, and it got a bit spindly looking, it got very thin and bare on the top, so I chopped it up and I've been re-rooting it, and these are the pieces so far that have rooted, and I just want to combine them into this little pot here. I did want to film over the next few days, but I got an email last night asking me to go to a job interview in the next few days, and I'm really excited and I'm really hopeful, so fingers crossed for that. But it means my free time is going to be sort of taken up doing that, so, and preparing for it. So I'm going to end the video after I've potted these up, and yeah, wish me luck. Hopefully, I think I'm having the interview the same day this video will be going up. There we go, these guys have been potted up for a little bit longer than the other pot. Oh, I'm gonna need to hoover. There you go, I'll leave them like that for now. And then just this little pot here. I'm really excited to have this plant sort of full and really healthy again. These guys were rooted when I potted them up. They don't look brilliant. Those ones seem to have all died off. I'm gonna pot them in anyway, and if they don't look like they're rooting and they don't react when I water the plant, I will take them out and start re-rooting them elsewhere. Added a little bit of extra, oh, there's a little one I nearly missed. Added a bit of extra orchid bark just to fill this out. I've got Piper staring at me off to the side with her toy. My favourite cat. There you go. I'm going to pop about 1 inch of soil at the bottom of this pot. I think that looks good. And then just shove them in like that. I usually repot stuff on my kitchen floor because it's a lot easier to clean up mess, and there's a lot more space to spread out all the things that you're using, but I didn't know how easy that would be to film, so I've been doing them on my coffee table, but I'm definitely gonna have a look around the flat and see if there's a better place to film these kinds of things where I've got enough space, but also there's enough space in the room to bring the camera far back enough. I've had to put Piper's bed on top of a chair. Just backfilling so that nothing falls out. There we go. Oh, forgot that little tiny cutting again. I'll just shove him in just there. So that's already looking really nice and full, and I've got loads more still rooting in my prop box. I've noticed with these curly lipstick plants, they don't root in water very well, but other lipstick plants do. So if you're trying to propagate this, try a perlite prop box or leca. And I reckon sphagnum moss would also probably work quite well with these. But yeah, that is everything I'll be doing in this video today. I really hope you enjoyed it, and if you want to see more, please subscribe and follow my Instagram. I'm Amy's Greenish Thumb everywhere. yeah, I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, rest of your night, and I'll see you next time. Bye!